All right. You ready, kiddo?
Thank you, Mom.
We'd like to welcome everybody here today for our board meeting. It's time for our regular board meeting, September the 10th. It's 10:05 a.m. Roll call, please.
Ron Ellis,
Present.
Bert Gentry,
Present.
Jim Marlowe.
Present. So, take everybody with
Please rise.
you. Do the pledge, bud?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we just come to you today seeking your wisdom and seeking your guidance. Lord, we're thankful for all that you do for us, and we're thankful for this great country that you've provided us. Lord, we ask that you put a special blessing upon all the servicemen and women, wherever they are in this world, as they protect our nation and other nations of the world, Lord, and our freedoms. Lord Jesus, I just pray that you be with us today and let your hand be upon us and guide this meeting and bless everyone that is here, Lord. And we just pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
On the animal control, and I don't see Kevin here, but just some real issues on that. We're going to have to take a look. We haven't had a chance to discuss this yet, but I'd like to put a public notice out there to people. We've gotten into the position where people are dumping illegal stuff again. When I say illegal, I'm talking Chester's, boxes, big wooden boxes.
I mean, recycling.
For recycling. What did I say? Animal control. Sorry about. We are on animal.
Close enough.
Well, we haven't had dead animals yet, like we did down in Creel.
We did have some one time. So.
That kind of messes things up too. But with the recycling, if it doesn't stop, there will be drastic changes. Right now, we have where people can come out 24/7, 365 and put recycled materials in our parking lot just across the railroad tracks from us. And if the illegal stuff doesn't stop, what we will be forced to do is to remove the dumpster. We'll still have the recycling where we have Kevin coming through with the truck on Mondays and Fridays at our facility here. We'll still have our pickups in Johnston City, but this is a shot across the bow, and I hope it's out there with the media too, that if it doesn't stop, it will stop. The recycling program where we have just free access to everybody that wants it right now. So hopefully that will change. I don't know if you guys want to say anything on that or not, but.
Kevin first notified me about it, that somebody dumped some the furniture you're referring to, some television sets. We looked at the videotape, we backed it up, we've identified the truck. We couldn't get a plate, but the truck is later identified because of the markings. Kevin has got the license plate off the truck. He's contacted the individuals. The individuals are aware of it. But what Ron's talking about is this is a program, actually, it's just in Williamson County, just all over. I know a lot of people like to recycle. That's great. The problem is that market's drying up. A lot of our recycled material ends up in China. China is not taking a lot of the stuff anymore, and the stuff continues to pile up. So there's a cost associated with recycling. It's not free, and when that market goes away, we'll be forced to shut that down. But until then, we just want to make sure that people utilize it correctly. And we do have cameras watching that, and that's what we want to convey to the public, is that it's being watched, it's being monitored, and we will call you out if we catch you.
Jerry, come on up. One
thing before Jerry starts, back to the recycling, Kevin, his his phone's on the blink, I guess you would say. He does have money in the maintenance fund that he could get a new phone.
You know.
You just give him that, not go ahead and use that department or that line item.
Yep.
To get a new phone.
Yes.
I told him I'd run by the board first.
Okay, Terry?
Okay. Not much has changed, still kind of working on the Windows 10 upgrade, evaluating systems and software. One piece of software we are having issues with is that tax program. We have some users where the program keeps crashing on, so they can't do their job. Other than that, everything's pretty much still status quo.
Now, that would Jeff's department or?
Yes.
Yes.
One user in particular that's having a lot of problems lately over the past 4 or 5 days, just continually crashes, and it's something that we're having a lot of problems trying to track down what the actual cause is.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
thanks. Do you guys, Ryan, do you guys have anything with, anything you need to report or anything?
No, just for the email stuff that I'll do later on.
Okay, yeah. Mr. Craig?
First thing I've got on the agenda is Country Storage subdivision. I'm gonna ask that we table that for now. The subdivision has frontage off, it's a one lot subdivision that has access off of Route 166, and the subdivision does not have IDOT's certification for the regional engineer to sign off, and so that's something we'll have to go back and get added before we can bring it to you guys. The second thing I've got on the agenda is the approval to purchase a tractor, a John Deere tractor with a boom arm. We put this out for bid. We published it in the paper. We got 2 bids from the primary 2 vendors that serve or sell this type of equipment. One was from William Novy and one was from Woody's Municipal Supply. The low bid was with Woody's Municipal Supply. The price I've got quoted on there is the net price. That's after a trade-in. We're trading in an older unit. It's about 13 years old. It's a John Deere 6145M tractor with a 25-foot boom arm mower. We have 3 of those units that we run in the wintertime primarily. And it's something that's essential this year, especially. We've had a lot of growth out over our roads, and it's something we try to keep on top of. And rotating this equipment's a pretty important deal because they're a high maintenance piece of equipment. So
That's quite a bit of difference.
yeah, they called me the next day, the folks from Novi, and what ended up happening is the guy did not include the governmental discount for the tractor.
Oh, well,
And so,
it's in their first rodeo, so.
yeah, I mean, they know the drill. So,
So you want a motion to go ahead and accept this?
yes.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the proposal for the tractor and boom arm mower from Woody's Municipal for $110,157.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Bert Gentry.
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
I wanted to give you an update on a few other things we've got going. I was recently notified just here about a week ago that, and we had applied for 2 or 3 different things with the department, IDOT, for some safety funding, and we were notified that we were selected for funding for traffic signals at the intersection of Crenshaw Road and Skyline Drive.
Yeah.
We had asked also for a right turn lane off of Crenshaw. They did not fund that. I'm in the process of asking some questions into that to see if we can get that included as well. But that will be something that we will be advancing here as soon as I hear back from IDA. And I want you guys to be aware of it. It's a 90% funding, federally funded project. So for that, they provide 300 and some thousand, we're gonna provide the 10% match for them. So,
So no roundabout.
no, we had applied for that a couple years ago and got shot down. They turned us down for that cold. And so I didn't go back to the well because they've already told us no once. So, and this was something that we worked with Simpo and Crawford Murphy and Tilly to develop our application. And we were selected this time, which there's only 3 down in this area that got selected. Jackson County got 1 and Carbondale got 1. I think they got a roundabout that's been in the paper or the news here recently. That's the only 3 I know of.
Those roundabouts confuse me. I'm the guy who keeps going around in circles. You don't know when you get off. You know, they do. They turned it down then, huh, out there.
Yeah, a couple years ago we applied, and it was a big dollar. We asked for a lot of money because it's gonna, for that particular location, we got semi trucks out there. You got to
Oh, yeah.
design it for a WB60 vehicle, and so we were asking north of $2 million for it. So that, and they only put 15 million statewide to local agencies, and so they try to be really careful on how they divvy out that money. So, and then the other things I wanted to mention to you were finished paving on Saraville Road, 4.5 mile resurfacing project that we got a grant for from the Federal Highway Administration. So that's going to be finishing up this week. We recently finished Spillway Road resurfacing project with Grassy, and then we're as we speak today and tomorrow, we're going to be setting beams on the last span on Lynn Branch Road. And I suspect within the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to be able to open that road. So
Before the hunting season then, so.
yeah, we'll get done and be able to close the detour off, and people will be able to use the road like they normally do.
I know the Canadian Railroad, for some reason, had another 3-week delay for recently.
Yeah, they get real picky on when they've got a pretty large crane that's lifting those beams, and they've gotten real tough on us. And E.T. Simons is doing the contract on how their methods and means on how they were going to do that. The good news is I think we're going to get it done before our time extension that
Is that
they haven't
October,
granted.
is October 9th?
Huh?
Oh, we haven't got anything on that?
Not yet. At some point, they'll have to issue it.
Is October 9th our current?
I think it's the end of October is our current deadline. So,
Yeah, because that's right before the beginning of hunting season. So October 31st was the original.
Well, there was a date I think we had put in our last motion for extension, but I don't recall what that date was.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
with any luck, the end of September, we're going to be extremely close because we're going to have that last span in tomorrow. They'll be grout beams, doing parapet walls and back walls and things like that. And I suspect that they'll have that very close in the next 3
Well, I know when they're able to work, they'll work all the way up tonight.
I just hope the weather stays good, because if we get the weather turns and it starts getting wet, it's just going to complicate things. So that's all I've got, unless you guys have any questions.
Only question I have is there any kind of time frame? I know there was discussion with IDOT going down Route 37, excuse me, south of Marion, to make a shoulder, widen that shoulder. I know they've been doing a lot of survey work. Where do they stand with that? Any idea?
Well, I've got a sheet of projects that they're advancing as part of this capital program that was recently passed. And Route 37 South Marion is going up and down to 148. That they're gonna, I'm gonna use some terminology that doesn't mean much, but they're gonna do a 3-yard job, go in and put shoulders on the route, flatter slopes, and just make it where it's wider, safer, and better for traffic. It's also going to be resurfaced. And, my understanding, they're going to address a lot of culverts. I'm talking to them about addressing some of the things that we have that intersect with that road that are issues like Lake Beach Road. That intersection is dealt with properly, we go back far enough, so it's in a better shape than it is now with all the trucks that use it. And then we've got a number of side roads that come up to it, and I'd like to see them take those approaches back, so that, you know, they're good for many, many years if they're gonna spend all that money. So, but yeah, they're in the works of putting that together. Now, exactly when, I can't tell you. I don't think they can tell you right now. But it's something they're advancing.
I know they've been doing, for a couple of months, they've been doing a lot of survey work along 37, so I didn't know where it stood though in the pecking order.
Yeah, that's one of their priorities that they've got with this capital bill. It's one of the projects that they're promising to deliver, from my understanding.
Okay. Thanks, Bud.
Yeah,
Under old business, the Frontier internet contract, Wendy, I got your email. We voted originally to pay the $8,942.47. We did what we had said we were going to. They Mickey Moused around, and they're trying to, I know it's in the grand scheme of everything, it's $279.95 more, but I'm not in favor of paying that extra. It was their screw up, and I'm still willing to go ahead and pay the $8,942.47, but I'm not willing to give them a penny more. So I don't know what you guys think of that one. I know, Jim, you would.
Well, we signed the contract. I was commissioner, I was the chairman at the time. My name's on that contract and all the details of cancellation are in there. Their billing system, like a lot of billing systems, are usually like a month behind. I think that's where the difference is. Am I correct on that, Wendy?
I believe that's what it is.
So I'm in favor of sending them the extra money. I know it's not pleasant, but we did sign the contract, we entered the contract, and the contract works both ways. I'm in favor of paying the extra. Get rid of it. It's not worth fighting.
What are your thoughts, Bud?
I was clear the first time. No, I'm not in favor of paying it. This company has caused us a lot of heartache, and especially on the phones. We just switched phones over to astronomical amount of money they've been charging us. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And we switched over to Clearwave. It saved a ton of money for the county and the taxpayers. And I'm just for table it and see what they do, see what their move is. So they can't get anything straight. I mean, 1 minute, you know, you got a contract, and then if you don't have a contract, and the price changes. It's always something with this Frontier company, and I'm not in favor of $9,222. So I would recommend just table it and see what they say.
I don't agree to table it.
Okay.
I'll make the motion. I understand where you're coming from, Brent, and Ron, I do, but I'm gonna make a motion that we pay the additional and be done with them as according to the contract and the way the billing system operates. I don't like it either, for the record, but I think the contract's a contract. We signed it and everything that holds with it. So I'm making a motion.
Before you do that, I'm
I've
willing,
already made the motion.
all right,
You can still discuss whatever.
all right, I'm not in favor. We were in communication with them. We had everything worked out. They had agreed to the $8,942.47 amount. And after the fact, they came back and gave us the higher bill.
That's not necessarily accurate.
Okay,
We asked them, what we did, because of what you guys asked me to do, is you wanted me to contact them and say, if we disconnected, what would the early termination fee be? When I emailed them, I said, if we disconnected as of a certain date, what would the early termination fee? The response I got back was that 8,900 number. That was based on the specific question that I asked. By the time we actually did disconnect, it was beyond the date of the original email I had sent to her. So the amount she sent to me would no longer have been accurate based on the additional time. Because I asked her as of July 1st, and I think it was July
29th.
29th or something is when we actually terminated with them.
Let me ask you one question. We never
So-
gave them a specific date when to disconnect. We just told them we
We
wanted
said-
to disconnect.
I sent them an email and
Correct.
said, if we canceled on July 1, what would the fee be? Because you guys wanted to find out what would it be before you decided if you were gonna do this or not. You wanted to know what's the amount we're looking at.
Right.
So I emailed her and asked her that. That was the $8,900 she gave me. It was not a set, it was a direct answer to a very specific question. So it's not like what she said was, if you cancel, this is gonna be your set fee, no matter what. It was, if you cancel on this date, this is what it would be. We did not actually cancel until the end of July. So just keep that in mind too.
Okay, well,
Well,
I
keep-
know
keep-
that $279.95 is very important to them, and it's just as important to us.
Okay.
So. I'm not
And that's
in favor of
fine. And I
paying
mean, whatever you guys decide to do with it, I just want to make sure you understand what I was trying to relate with my email to you guys
The
too.
way they conduct business, and told Stephanie that there wasn't a contract, and come back, there is a contract, and they this and that, back and forth, is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, I agree.
And you will agree with that.
Oh, I
And I
agree.
mean,
They
it's-
have been
It
an
is,
awful
it is
company to work with.
absurd to let this company walk all over us in many ways, just not this, especially the phone deal and everything. I wasn't for it for $8,900 to begin with, so if y'all want to do it, go for it. If not, then there's a motion on the table. You either get a second or it's gonna die, and we'll address it again. So he's got a motion.
I have no intention to second it.
Okay.
You have no intention to second it, so I'd say
So we'll
that.
carry on the next month, see what they say. All right, what we got going?
For White Ash, I spoke to Kyle Violet yesterday, and he sent me an email where he was, his department was wanting there some questions about how much we had paid for the last 5 years to Johnston City, and then to Ameren, and then to Southeast Electric. So I went down and talked to Ashley about that yesterday. He gave me the information just a few minutes ago. I haven't had a chance to look at it. He gave me a copy to get to you guys also, and to Wendy, and about how much we paid. And I know that with our conversation, I told him about the conversation I'd had with USDA about how they don't have a problem if we take that over. I told him it'd be in everybody's best interest if we did that in writing. And he didn't have, he wanted that in writing, that we would, if we do that, that we would take responsibility for the bond.
All right,
Payment.
I'll disagree with that. I think the responsibility needs to follow with a municipality. We were in the process of looking at this. It's the same result. It's just who would be responsible for the bond and the overall responsibility. I think responsibility needs to be to Pittsburgh. Now, in taking over the bond, what you're talking about is making the payments on the bond. But instead, I think what we discussed before was making the payments to Pittsburgh, let Pittsburgh take care of the bond. And from the money derived from the income tax and sales tax.
It's basically the same thing.
It's the
Run-
same
run through
thing,
Pittsburgh to make
But
it
the
look like the check
responsibility
comes
of
from
the
them.
bond goes to the municipality. And I think that's where
Probably
they would
cleaner.
like it, because if something ever went wrong, they could go back on Pittsburgh.
And not us.
And not us.
Same thing, it's just
It's the same
running
thing.
through them, writing a check, that's coming from us, write a check, and their money, but is that, we talked about two different ways, so I don't know.
I think it has to be done the way that Jim is talking
Yeah, that's what
about,
I
because I
thought.
think the way the law reads, if there is a transfer of the utility, the bond stays with the utility, the bond must be transferred along with it. So I think that's.
I
the
mean,
way it would
we
have to
aren't
be
in the
done.
sewer business, so.
Now, that
well,
doesn't stop you from making an agreement with Pittsburgh to make those payments, but I think the bond would still have to go to Pittsburgh with the sewer system.
Correct.
Okay,
And
the
so-
payment would still come from the money that we
Yes.
would.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Right, yeah,
We-
you can work
Because
out
it's
agreements
it's flowing
for
through them.
Collecting
payment.
the money
Yes.
for the income tax and everything from the residents of White Ash.
That's
Right,
correct.
we could do an intergovernmental agreement with Pittsburgh to work that out,
Right.
but I think
Right.
technically, the bond would have to go and be put with Pittsburgh, and then you could then
Okay.
work
It's
out
a flow
payments
through.
with Pittsburgh.
As long as Pittsburgh isn't responsible for making the bond payment from the collection of the water, the sewer tax, the sewer payment.
Right. It would be
That's what their
coming,
concern is.
no, I understand that. No, and it's from the income tax and the sales tax.
Use tax,
Use
use
tax,
tax.
you know.
It's a flow through, just
Yeah.
flow through them, the big
And
plane.
Ashley, I talked to Ashley about it to get what the numbers, because when we get those taxes in as revenue, it's a lump sum. And we discussed that.
Mhm.
We got to try and
Break
figure
it
out as accurate as we can,
Yep.
what that is, what that number is from White Ash. Because when it comes, it includes White Ash, it includes Johnson City, it's Marion, it's all the entities, involved, or, and,
It's a whole.
it's all
town.
mixed together, so we
Right.
gotta figure out per capita and everything, and look at the number of users on the system, and try to figure out the most accurate number. This is, within that lump sum, this is White Ash's portion that's coming to us. Then we have a number to work with.
Right.
And then we'll figure out what type of payment system that we could agree to and send it to Pittsburgh,
And then they just write a check out.
right?
It's just cleaner.
Right.
It's cleaner.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and one way to do that is to look at the number of hookups they have. That gives you a base number, and then how many people live in each of the homes that are there. So
Yeah. So,
they have about 140 hookups
yeah, when they dissolved, we inherited a mess and we're not in the sewer business. So
and don't want to
I
be.
think we all agree after, year and a half, 2 years, it's time to.
But they're willing with this stuff we have today, and they're willing to take a look at it and to do that. I talked with him about a potential goal date, would be December 1st is what they would like to take a look at potentially doing.
we'll have to see if Ashley's got the numbers.
He's got them, he gave it to me this morning.
He had him in Hawaii.
Oh, I thought those were on the sewer numbers.
Oh, for the population?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's-
their income.
Actually, we're not gonna get that from Ashley, we're gonna get that from the city, how many they have, and then if you want a hard number, when they do from Pittsburgh, how many hookups they have, how many bills they send out.
Okay.
But they are interested in your conversation and taking as long as that's.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
as long as
Great.
they're,
I'm
as
all
long
for
as they don't have to make sure that the money is accounted for the bond payment.
Ashley never got back with me, that's why, I'm a little surprised. I told him a while back, I thought he was still working, so that's why.
I didn't know until yesterday about that original email. It was back in July. So I went down and asked him yesterday, and he said he tried to have it for us this morning, which he literally gave me the paperwork. So I haven't even had a chance to look at it, and you guys haven't either because I haven't given it to you. So,
Okay,
but
so we have a tentative deal. It's just gotta work it all out.
and the goal, his goal, and, we have a payment due in November, that the money's already sitting in the escrow account for the bond payment.
Right.
And if we do this way, what he and I talked about yesterday was potentially in less than 5 years, it'd be about 4.5 years, because you still have to make, according to USDA, we had talked about setting the money up monthly, because we get the money monthly and put it into that escrow account. But they can't USDA cannot handle a monthly payment. They're only set up, because it's a bond payment, every 6 months. So May and November are the two payment dates. And so what we could do is, I worked out with USDA, we put in $2,000 a month. I just picked a number. But we put $2,000 a month into this escrow account, and then every 6 months we pay that. And we have a huge amount going toward the principal. Literally, in 4.5 years, it would be paid off. And at that point, I asked them point blank, I asked USDA, I said, okay, let's assume for a second, but the payment doesn't get made. What happens? And because they can't come back, usually that you would take back the asset. Well, in this case, it's underground, it's a sewer system. And they've never had that happen in the United States anywhere yet. And they really don't want this to be their test case. But They are very, very willing to work with us and the municipality and to, all they care about is getting the money back. That's literally, all they care, they want, just give us our money. We don't care where the money comes from,
Yeah.
just give us the money. I said, okay. So, we'll get that and then we'll have, we'll have sometime the next month, we'll have another meeting. And, I'll give an update then. And you guys will have the paperwork where you can look at it and see.
Okay.
And, Kyle's supposed to get back to me and give me a hard number for, the number of hookups that they have for, the sewer system. And then it's a math calculation on determining how many people are over there. One way to find out is within a year, we'll have the census information. And so we'll know an exact number within a year of what the population is inside the, what was the city limits of White Ash. So anybody else got any thoughts on that one?
No, but before you leave old business,
I will.
we're done with this section.
Still got, we haven't heard anything back on the, to bid the accounting services. Haven't heard anything back from the Attorney General's office yet, so we'll table that still.
Okay, one second.
You got anything, you got something?
Yeah, something hit me the other day. You know how we do the county, the county credit card deal we started, we're trying to put, make points and money.
Mhm.
What do you guys think about that? Do you think we need to scratch that? Considering all we're up against with the budget, just let everybody do their own thing. I don't think it's working. The intent was good.
I think we need to look at, see what the results have been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know what.
You know what I'm
they-
saying, because they get that card.
I wouldn't want to do anything without looking at the results.
Right, I would agree with that. The Steph, we had, we just recently, about a month and a half ago, we set it up to where the different departments, it's still under, this credit card's still under the same company, but there's different credit cards because what we were running into was we had a couple of departments in the county that were very negligent in giving us their portion of the money
That's where I'm
on
coming
a
from.
timely basis, and we were incurring late charges because of it. So what we did was, we split it up.
Now they're all responsible for their own bill.
Right.
You hit the nail on the head. That's what I'm concerned about. So
Yeah.
that's been my concern.
Yeah.
with it.
But
The intent's good.
it seems to be working better now. We haven't, that I'm aware of, we haven't got any late notices because somebody hasn't paid on time.
So we're just kind of watching and see.
So that happened, about a month and a half ago?
It was, yeah, it was about, I think, May.
I think that's some spending issues. If we could
But,
figure that out. Okay.
but it was being a major problem there for a while.
Okay.
Okay. Jim, you got anything? On new business, we got, Lori LaQuat had another meeting today. She gave us her update for the Regional Office of Education. We don't have to vote on anything. She just gives us that as an update.
Roy, you want anything back?
Well, I didn't see you back there.
Oh, hey, Laurie, how are you? Have you been there the whole time?
I didn't.
You
see
blend
you
in with the
back
glass. I didn't see you out there.
Roy, look what's here.
So how was your meeting? Pretty quick?
Yes.
The, everything's going okay with the truancies and all that? How's that going? Huh? Yeah.
The golden X, yes.
You're the next-
See what happens when you come in and you didn't know it? You're doing a well job too.
Truth is going well, actually. We are shifting some of what we're doing with our truancy program. We used to have, we've changed the name to truancy interventionists because our goal is to identify and educate parents early in elementary school because we know how difficult it can be once they get into junior high and high school. So our goals with our meetings are going to be more along the lines of surveying to get, start identifying what barriers are causing the truancy, educating parents on the simplicity of just even 2 days a month throughout a school year, turning into a full month of school missed, which in long term can, continually be put their student more at risk of not graduating from high school. And so, and it also causes some social deficits with the students. And so we're really focusing on elementary this year. We're changing our role to be less of a disciplinary stance and more of an advocate for both the student and the school. Because if they reach out to us, then there's been a disconnect, not really been able to identify the problems or become more successful. And so we're just going to try to hit this a couple of different ways in hopes that we're more successful and truancy can decline, and hopefully we can encourage high school graduation.
Yes.
Lori, I applaud your efforts on that. My wife's a school teacher, and one thing over the years we've discussed, in order to change needs to start at home, because of the interim school systems. It's just so difficult to change behaviors, patterns, or anything, whether it be the student or the parents, but reaching out to the parents and everything, that's awesome, because it all starts at home.
It does, and especially in elementary school, we're going to try to start bringing the teacher into those meetings as well, because the teacher is with that student daily, as well as the parent. And so trying to start educating parents, identifying barriers so we can provide supports.
Good.
That's the plan.
Work cut out.
How are the, we're about a month into the school year now, a few weeks anyway. How are we on the teacher shortages in our region, and how are we doing with subs? Or can you talk about that?
I can talk about that. Not every school was able to fill all the teaching positions. I know at Project Echo right now, I have 3 positions that I could fill. I'd love to fill them. Those are our most at-risk students, and they need a lot of attention, and I hate to be shorthanded. But our schools throughout all 4 counties, I don't know this for sure, but I do know that we still have listings out there. So not all of the positions have been filled. And I don't know if it's because the candidates aren't there or if the quality of candidates isn't there. So, I know a few, we've had teachers coming from California, Kentucky, so we are getting an influx, and I know that the state is working on trying to loosen, make the license a little more reciprocal so we can get teachers into the classrooms. Substitute teachers, we have done my short-term substitute trainings. So people with 60 hours of college coursework can take a substitute training course with our ROE and get into a school district as a substitute teacher. That can be good and bad.
I believe they passed a bill to increase it to $40,000 now for school teachers,
We did.
and which I think a lot of school teachers are underpaid. I mean, anybody had put up with me all these years, deserve a medal. So,
Sure.
I mean, 3rd grade's the hardest 4 years of my life, so, but is that helping any,
We hope that it will over time, but you also have to consider, I think the majority of our schools here are at that rate anyway, and so
Oh, are they?
that's good. For the schools that aren't, it's going to be a stretch financially, because you may, raise the salary for a starting teacher, but, I mean, you can raise that, but where's the money coming from?
right?
So what's gonna happen
I can
is
tell
we're
you.
gonna go back to less teachers, larger classrooms.
Right.
A lot of them are here.
How much does a substitute teacher make now?
Varies from 75 to 125, it's just district policy.
Hmm.
They're starting to compete with one another.
I know this last summer, there was a lot of movement. I personally know 6 teachers that moved inside the district, but they were moving from one school to another, from one school district to another school district, just because one school district paid more and it was closer to home. And
Yes.
but and
I
that,
kind of joke that, we're whining and dining teachers now. So, I mean, if you're good, you should be rewarded. But yes, it's a struggle.
okay,
All right, thanks.
thanks.
Thank you.
Have a raffle that's going to be coming up here real soon with the Williamson County Republican Central Committee. Wendy, I know you've looked everything over, so
I have.
that's cool. So we need a motion for I'll make a motion that we accept the Williamson County Republican Central Committee's application for raffle.
For a poker run. Right, it's a raffle or a
Oh, it's
poker
a
run?
raffle. This is a raffle.
Straight up raffle?
This is a raffle.
Just a raffle?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second.
Ron Ellis,
Yay.
Bert Gentry,
Yay.
Jim Moran.
And then we've got Daniel Sloan had a little bit of a problem over White Ash.
Yeah,
Had a water break
Mhm.
and 129,820 gallons of water went spilling out. So he's got a credit coming of $889.28. Make a motion that we accept the sewer credit for the water, the White Ash sewer credit for Daniel Sloan for $889.28.
You say that 2 or 3 more times. I'll second it.
Ron Ellis,
Yay,
Bert Gentry,
Yay.
Jim Marley.
sound like Elmer Fudd.
Mm.
All right, county emails. Mr. Ryan,
Yeah, we've been mulling this over for the
hashing it
last,
around.
yeah, mulling this over for the last year about creating your email in-house.
Yes.
I think we're at the point now where we need to give your current vendor the 40-day, 5-day, 30-day notice to let them know as of October 15th, we'll no longer need their services. And we can move everything in-house. When we come up with a firm date, once you've given that to them and we know that's official, then we'll give you guys an actual date of when the cut will be. We'll migrate all that stuff in-house. Then you will have complete control over your emails. Nothing will change from a standpoint of your email addresses. Nothing will change. We'll be migrating all that stuff just in-house, all your emails, everything will be.
I'm by no means authority on computers, but it seems like I can turn it on and off, but I just think that it'd be more secure, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, and you have full control over it now. Right now, you have an issue where if you need to go to a FOIA request or something, and you're basically giving another vendor, you have to rely on them to get the information to relay that information to you. In this aspect, you have complete control over not one, your emails, but they would also be backed up for a specific amount of time. So you'd always be able to get these.
So we need a head nod or a motion on this to make this
Now,
move.
does this require another server?
No, there's no other cost. You guys have already
Just-
purchased
just
it.
transfer.
It's a matter of-
Yeah.
But
Just
okay, the letter?
You're okaying to give
Something
mayor
goes wrong,
official
let's say we
notice
get
of that date.
a virus.
Coming from the chairman or all of us,
There's a
or,
problem with an email.
It would
Would
probably
that
be done in
mean that
writing.
we're
probably by
responsible then for
okay.
The chairman's signature on the one thing, but you all
whatever
probably need
the
to
problem may
approve
be? I
him
mean,
sending that notice to
would
mayor to
CDS
cancel
be
their
the one
services.
help?
as
Yeah,
well.
because we're backing up your emails and
Yeah, it
we're
would
taking
be
care of your battery, your backups. That relies back on us.
Okay.
So anything that happens, we're backing up your stuff.
Right.
That's why you'll have complete control over it.
Okay.
Okay, like,
Okay, well, I personally would like to wait one more month to discuss this for me. That's just my request. If, whatever you guys want to do, but,
what's the, we talked about this for a year, why we need to wait another month? I mean,
I just would like to research this just a little bit more.
Well, we're
I'm-
spending money.
Hmm.
We're paying mayor
Yeah,
to do this.
yeah, we have all along.
I thought we were all in agreement of moving on with that.
I'd just like to hold it off for just one more month. I mean, it's up to you guys, whatever you want to do.
Well, I was just talking to Wendy, the best way to do it, no, we're making a motion on to send a letter and chairman sign it, and that's what my motion's gonna be, but, I don't see any reason to keep holding on. I think we need to move on, get everything secure. We talked about this forever, and
Well, it leaves us vulnerable, and we've had situations where with our EMA department, they get secure emails in, they've had to go a completely different route because they couldn't get secured.
They switched altogether.
yeah, I'm concerned about it, some disaster. But
It was not only the security concern, it was they were missing emails. I mean, she was getting a lot of stuff from grants and stuff. she
And that's not
wasn't
good.
getting, And that's not acceptable.
I just talked to Wendy a minute ago, and I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna make a motion that we authorize the chairman to send a letter to the carrier now that would no longer need their services effective October 15th, and have the chairman sign it. And that's a motion, either can second it, or it can wait, or whatever you want to do.
So I'll second that.
Once we get a firm date, like if you guys let me know when you get a confirmation back from them, then we'll give you an exact date when that's done.
Okay.
Obviously,
Okay, so that's the correct way of doing it. The letter, okay.
But it needs to be,
Ron
you made a
Ellis.
motion.
Yeah.
They made motions.
Okay.
So Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Bridge
Yay.
Gentry. Jim Marlowe.
Okay. I'll get with you, make sure we have the specific wording we need to send that over to them. Okay? 2018 audit report, we've received the report. I haven't heard anything from Kim. I've tried to contact her regarding getting the exit report on the audit. I haven't heard back from her. I don't know if either one of you guys have. So we need to accept the audit report, but we also,
Right.
we didn't get one last year. We really need to have an exit audit report where she comes in and verbally gives us any of her concerns or anything.
Sure.
So
But just have a meeting, have her come in.
that's what I've attempted to
Okay,
try to
okay, yeah, we do
do.
that. So you want a motion to accept it?
Yeah.
Okay, I make motion to accept 2018 audit report.
Second.
Jim Marlowe. Bridge
Yay.
Gentry. Ron Ellis.
Yay.
All right,
Got the minutes here. I'll
Mhm.
make a motion that we accept the July 31st, 2019 minutes.
a second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Bridge Gentry.
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay. Make a motion that we accept the August 13th, 2019 minutes.
Second.
Jim Marlowe. Bridge Gentry.
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay. And make a motion that we accept the August 22nd, 2019 minutes.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Bridge Gentry.
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay. Frank, you want to read accept the report?
Sure. Accept reports for Public Defender Report July, Williamson County Clerk Vital Records for July, Williamson County Clerk Fees Account for July, Williamson County Clerk Real Estate Trust for July, Williamson County Clerk Mobile Home Trust July, Williamson County General Fund for July. Submit those for filing. Hasn't this been exciting so far, everybody? Put you to sleep.
Probably getting down to the area where there might be some interest here. Next, we have a resolution for the Carberry Adult Use Dispensing and Second Site License pursuant to the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act. I know Jim and Wendy went to a meeting about a month ago up in Springfield. And regarding this, are there anything you guys would like to say about that meeting?
Wendy, do you want to talk to anything about it? I mean,
Not at this point unless somebody has questions.
okay, the Cannabis Act is something that the state passed. I don't know exactly what the date was. Do you recall that they passed it? But it will take effect.
It's in July, I don't remember the
Yeah,
exact
it will
date
take
now.
effect in January 1st. January 1st. Throughout the state, you'll be able to legally possess and smoke in certain areas. There's a lot of restrictions where the use can be. Now, this is adult recreational, not medicinal. But it'll be legal to possess and smoke in certain areas. There will be all kinds of restrictions on it, such as being close to a church or schools, or you could smoke it in your home if you want. You could be out in your backyard and smoke it. You couldn't go walking down the street smoking it, probably. I don't really know about possessing it or anything like that, walking down the street. I guess you could.
You
30 grams.
can
I have
possess
no
a certain
idea what
amount.
30 grams looks like, but they showed a photo and it's like about 2 handfuls of stuff. It's a hot button topic. It is what it is. The issue is, I will say this. our state, you know, it's just, seems like every day you hear about things, that's going on within our state. And, I don't know, it's just seems like it's going down all the time. And they're looking for various ways to either, generate revenue or what. But the real issue is the legalization of cannabis. And in a nutshell, that horse has left the barn. The law was passed. I think a lot of legislatures in this area, the representatives and senators of this area, probably voted no for it.
It was bipartisan, I mean, by a lot of them. I don't know how they voted.
I don't know exactly who, but I was just told that a lot of people in the area here voted no for it. Unfortunately, there were more people that voted for it. Yes, that's our form of government, you know, that's the way it is, like it or not. Do I personally like it? No. I think it's a sad day. But it is what it is. There's no way that the law, that we can have any effect on the law. The county, all authority that the county has on anything is granted to us by the state. And hence the state can pull back any authority that it grants to either a county or municipality. We do not have authorities simply based on the fact that we're a county or a municipality. It all flows from the state. We're always under the direction of the state. Do I like what the state's done? No, I do not like it, but we're here, and it is what it is. So with that, I know a lot of you are here. The state said that we could tax it at a rate of 3.75%. I believe, is that correct, Wendy?
Yes.
Okay. So there are a lot of restrictions. There are a lot of regulations that have been put in place. And I know this is still a moving target as far as they're not done regulating this yet. There's still all kinds of things that there's some conflicts here, conflicts there. They're not finished with this, and things may change. But I think, let's see. I'd like to open this up, and do we want to wait until, to let some people talk and?
Let's hear, I mean, I want to hear from you all.
Go ahead and finish up, we just have.
Yeah, let's-
And that way we can just take
Yeah.
whatever amount of time, so if you can just forgive us for 1 minute. Let's finish up our business here, and we'll just open it up to let the people here speak. So,
Real quick, the airport authority has a board member, Michael Troop. His term has expired. He would like to be reappointed to another term of 5 years to the airport authority. Got a letter from Doug Kimmel and Bernie Paul, the chairman. Doug Kimmel with the, I talked with Doug, and he thinks Mike's done a great job to be reappointed to the board. Real quick, before we do that, I'd like to say that I think it's great that Cape Air was given the nod to be the representative out of for air flight services out of our Veterans Airport. If you haven't heard, they're going to have 4 flights starting, I think it's in November, either November or December. I'm not exactly sure when they're going to start this, but they're going to have 4 flights a day instead of 6 flights a day to St. Louis and round trip, and they'll have 2 flights a day to Nashville. I think that's a great thing. I know the movement was for the other alternative was to go to Chicago. There's a lot of people here that go to Chicago. I understand, but there's other alternative ways to get to Chicago. You can go to Paducah, Kentucky. They have flights to Chicago also. But this opens up two big markets for us, and I hope that over the next 10 years, we really see that this is going to be a tremendous boom for our airport. I think it will be, because I know a lot of people. I fly out of Nashville a lot, and that'll open up some doors there.
Well, they're the only airline that's hit the threshold of 10,000 passengers for 10 straight years. And it's just a risk if you change, because there's no guarantee
Well, and you're
of
flying
what would
into
happen.
O'Hare, the weather is not always very good.
Nope.
And I avoid O'Hare if I can do it,
I
Under
avoid,
any
I avoid
circumstances.
Chicago in general. So,
because you get in, but you can't get out.
that's scary.
So we need a motion to accept Dr. Michael Troop for another 5-year
Oh.
term commencing September
I'll make that
10th, 2019, expiring July 31st, 2024.
Motion, I'll second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Aaron Gentry.
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay. And then same thing with Lakeside Water District. They have for Greg Herron, they would like to be reappointed to the Lakeside Water District.
I actually went to school with him, and he takes that job very, very serious, even though it's a non-paying deal, but he takes it very serious, and they say he's an excellent board member. So I make a motion to accept him.
I'll second it.
Aaron Gentry.
Yay.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. I know there's quite a few people here. Does anybody have?
You get to stand on the golden X.
Right, okay. And the reason for that is not because we're trying to put you at the front of the line or something. It's on the internet. So that way they can
You want
see
to kick it off?
you.
I can,
Lori, would you like to kick it off?
absolutely.
Okay.
I'll kick it off. My name's Lori Ellis. I am the general manager over at Harbury Medical Cannabis Dispensary. I've been the GM there pretty much since we started. A little background about Harbury. We were the first licensed medical facility, medical dispensary in the state. We were one of the only 4 to start operating on November 9th, right out of the gate. And we currently have 14 employees. That's a mixture of full-time, part-time. And out of the 47,000 active patients in Illinois right now, we have about 1,500 of those patients at our facility. And, you know, we're active in the community. I don't know how much everybody knows really about what we do. Kind of, you know, we do the Relay for Life every year. We do canned food drives that we donate to local churches, to the VA hospital for vets. We do the MS Walk, Hygiene for Humanity. We're there for a lot of reasons other than just, you know, to have that business there. We like to be active in the community, and we're also helping a lot of medical patients with a lot of conditions. And you know, for myself, I'm not a patient or anything, but just to see the patients that we've been able to help and what this plant can do. And I know that we're not here to talk about medical today, but I just wanted to give you a little background. It's kind of been amazing what I've seen happen to a lot of patients, cancer patients. My dad has rheumatoid arthritis, and he's not on the program, but I've seen what it can help. So we're there really for the right reasons. And like you said, you know, recreational, we didn't vote it, right? It was kind of voted in Springfield, but it's here. And what our position is it is going to be here, whether or not we're the ones that sell it in Williamson County, whether you vote no or yes, it's going to be in Williamson County. I mean, that's a fact. It already is, you know. But what we can bring to the table is we can bring 4 years of experience with the product, 4 years of experience with the state law, and they're very strict. I mean, unless you're in the facility, you can't really gauge the amount of security that is there and the amount of regulations that we have to abide by. We've got great relationship with the state as far as compliance goes. ISP inspects once a month. IDFPR comes in 4 times a year, you know, unannounced. We've got great relations with them. We've always been compliant. And, you know, that's one of our top priorities is safety and compliancy and making sure we're following every single rule that the state has put out there. And, you know, like I said, our staff knows the product. We know the laws for the user as well. So for the residents of Williamson County, if they choose to purchase, we can help guide them to use responsibly and to know how to use and things like that. I mean, that's what we can bring to the table. That, because let's face it, somebody's going to open one down the street outside of Williamson County if we don't. And but we have that experience and we have that background, I think, that kind of puts us in a unique position in the county because we can do it the right way, right out of the gate. And just a couple other things, you know, our already existing location right by Veterans Airport is where where we would like to do this, get approved for. The site will be the same. A few doors here and there would change because we would want the flow to go, you know, recreational through one waiting room, medical through the other. We don't want to change the flow for our medical patients. We don't want to disrupt that. We have a lot of PTSD patients, a lot of patients with high anxiety, and we want to make sure that we are still focusing on that medical community as well as being able to bring in the revenue, you know, from the recreational side as well. So everything will be in the same site. Our advantage here really, and the advantage to actually voting, I guess, vote today is it is going to take time with the state to make those changes. I mean, we know it takes time to get those things passed through the state and back and forth, and can we do this, you know. The sooner we can get a yes vote on this, the sooner we're able to make those changes, and the sooner, you know, we want to be open by January 1st so that revenue starts coming in right out of the gate. And for Harbury, currently, since we were the first medical facility, we have a lot of patients that came to us first because there was nowhere else to go. And so they stuck with us. And so that's why we've been so successful, because we were able to get a lot of those people, and we want to create that loyalty. So if we can get open on January 1st and get the people to come there, we create that loyalty and therefore more tax revenue for the county. Jobs are, like I said, right now we have 14 employees. We're looking at hiring 20 to 25 new employees. Should we be able to operate recreationally, which is great for the county, as much as $750,000 in new income for the local communities. Redevelopment for the addition of adult use Harbury will be hiring qualified local contractors. So you're also looking at money there for local contractors to come in. Access, patients will continue to be provided with valuable medication. And that's the other thing too that I want to hit home about really is, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we know it's going to be here. But when people are able to buy it through a licensed facility, they're getting safely tested products through labs. They know what they're getting. They're not getting it on the street. And that's one of the values I think of getting is you know what you're getting, you know. And if you could see the product there and how, I mean, it's all sealed. It's all, if one bottle, like a tiny little seal breaks open, we have to destroy it. I mean, I can't even in my office, I can't have any type of product. If I'm in my office and I'm looking at testing results on a bottle of flour or an edible, if I get up and leave my office, I have to take that product to the vault and put it in the vault. It can't even stay in my office on my desk. I mean, it's, you know, they're doing it the right way to ensure that everybody's compliant. Monetary benefits, an adult use dispensary would bring in tax revenue that could be as much as 30% above the current sales budget for the county. We are 100% locally employed. So, you know, we try to hire, I mean, I'm from Williamson County. I grew up in Williamson County. I know what the unemployment rate, I know that hits hard down here. And that's our goal, you know, is to hire local people, not bring in people from other parts of the state or other states. You know, we want those jobs to stay local as much as we can. And a commitment to education, I hit on that, but we are committed to educating both medicinal patients and recreational users on safely using it. You know, the laws are in our waiting room too. I mean, we watch out for that. We watch out for people coming in if we think they're buying more than they, you know, buying to sell it or buying for someone else or doing something they shouldn't be with, using it where they shouldn't. We watch out for those things and we remind them. I mean, we'll remind them. We had a patient the other day we just didn't sell to because we thought they were buying for someone else. I mean, we're on your side as far as that goes, and the law enforcement side is we want it to be used the right way. We really do.
Can I ask you a dumb question?
Sure.
You're hearing from a guy that's never took a puff of cigarette,
Mhm.
or doesn't, okay, that's not my thing,
Right.
right? So I don't know one thing about marijuana or anything like this,
Mhm.
but what is all this oil and all this stuff people are using, and you
You
see
know,
buy on every street corner?
It's amazing the kind of products are out there. I mean, you mean the CBD oil that's out
I
there?
guess it's patches and oil and all this
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
You know, the kind you can buy on the street right now is made from hemp. It's just straight CBD oil. Doesn't have any THC in it. And I think the common misconception, because I was reading through some of the comments last night, on WSIL from the boat in Marion. And, there were people talking about, well, you can get CBD anywhere, and why do we need this or whatever. The deal with that really is the CBD is not regulated by the FDA that they're getting out on the street. So again, the company can say, you're getting 85% CBD, you might be getting 10% or less, or filler. You
It's
don't know
not,
what
it's
you
not
get.
by FDA, so it could be anything.
It can be anything. It can be
Unbelievable. It's everywhere. You can buy it anywhere.
It's in the family. Well, I guess I'm not gonna say that, but it's everywhere, right. That's off the record, by the way.
Well, heck, my dad tried it for his back, and he said, this thing, big waste of $100 or, whatever, he threw it in the trash can. But he's willing trying to get the paint, but, and I just wonder what the heck he's even using.
Yeah, I mean, some of it out there does help. I mean, I know some people out there use it and they get it from different places around here. The oils that we have, I mean, there is, like you said, there's patches, there's topicals, there's,
And that's
RSO.
not FDA.
No, it's not regulated.
It could have anything. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Huh.
and I mean, it's, and like I said, some of it I'm sure is great, but you don't have those testing results that we have. And somebody made the argument that, well, there's THC in the kind that you get through a dispensary. There is, but there's a minimal amount in a lot of it, and really that THC, it helps you get the effects of the CBD too. So it's not, a little bit of THC. I think people are scared of that sometimes when they talk about the THC and the level in it. There's different levels of it, and it's not all.
Well, we can be blind to know that marijuana is not everywhere on the streets. We can't put our head in the sand and say, it's not out there, because it is out there. And this fight took place in Springfield months ago. It was a bipartisan effort that they passed it.
Right.
And like I said, I see drunks driving down the road every single day. And so I don't know a thing about marijuana. It sounds like you have a very tight controlled place out there. I went to eat yesterday down the road, and I think it's important because I have two groups of elderly people. There's 9 people total.
Right.
And they always talk to me when I come in, I sit down, I talk to them. I kind of explain this whole thing, what's going on. One gentleman said, pulls out this card, which I didn't know what the card was for. And he said, I paid $700 for this card. And he said, every day, he started crying, every day for 2 years, I have to massage my legs all the way down to my ankles to be able to get out of bed. This card has saved me, and look at me walk today. And I didn't ask, but I'm assuming he's a customer. And so he said, he told me that story, and I just sat there thinking, that there's probably a lot of ways out there besides just straight medicine that help people. The Chinese have done stuff for years, with the acupuncture, whatever, 3,000 years. And I listened to the story, and every person at that table, and I really thought that some might buck this, not a one.
Yeah.
And I was very, very surprised. But he told me about that card, and I thought that's a pretty inspirational story because I didn't even know what the card was.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know we're not debating medical at all, but, we've seen people who came the first day. She'd had 17 surgeries, had to have somebody bring her down in a wheelchair, push her into the facility. She could hardly really talk to really, relay what she was wanting or what her conditions were and what her symptoms were. And within 6 months, she was walking in the facility. She drove herself here. She lived like 4 hours away, and because we were the first, she had, she chose our dispensary, so that's why she was driving so far, and she could walk in the building. And that's what, and I didn't know much about it when I started either there.
I brought that up, medic. I know that's what we're talking about, but
it's
still,
interesting to see.
we don't get to talk to you much, or anything. So I like to hear. That's why
Yeah.
it's interesting to hear.
It really is. It's. I think a lot of people have some very some valid concern, no doubt, but I think they
Absolutely.
also have some misconception about what it can do as well. I mean, honestly, and that's, to me, that's really where we come in and what we can really bring to the table on this, I think, is the fact that we've been here 4 years. So we've researched everything on it. We know, and it's going to be the same product that we've been selling.
Yeah, it's here, no matter how you look
And
at
we
it.
know,
So,
we can bring that to the table, and we can do it in a safe, effective way for this community. And that's really what we can bring along with that, along with tax revenue, and I know, that's a big portion of it too. But, we're looking at upwards of, 500,000 in tax revenue next year alone based on our projections for our revenue, and that's huge.
That's
That's
big.
huge, and I would hate to miss out on that because someone's gonna get that.
Lori, and I guess this is with Wendy too. My understanding is that there's a hard deadline coming up of September the 20th.
Yes, but I don't think it's quite what I thought it was.
What September 20th is that's really the first date it opens for us to apply. And, can we still get it after that? Probably. The issue with not getting it done by the 20th really is the fact that we probably can't have our doors open by the 1st of January. And, just from, like I said, past experience with the medical facility, if we can do that, if we can get that done, then that tax revenue comes in right away and we create loyalty with those people that will stay with us. So, that's best case scenario, and that's really, that's what we would like to happen. So, because like I said, we don't know how long it's gonna take with the state. We're gonna be in their queue of people that are applying on the 20th. And if ours comes in after the 20th, we're gonna be down at the bottom of that queue.
There's also a real chance they may be changing a lot of things between now and January 1st.
You never know. You never know.
This thing may not even fly by the time
I
January
think
1st
they
comes around.
expect there's gonna be some trailer bills that are gonna
Right.
be coming out.
They were expecting that in the veto session. I know that the license fee, if I'm not mistaken, is $130,000.
It is out of the gate. It's $130,000.
And that's a non-refundable fee. So
If we
if
don't-
that's the case, how does, so I can have an understanding here, because we've not had a chance to sit down and talk, the three of us, on this at all. That's what, believe it or not, opportunity we have to talk is in an open meeting.
Right.
So with September 20th being the first date that you can petition the state to sell recreational marijuana, the $130,000 license fee has to go in with that application.
It's
It's
part of it.
non-refundable.
Part of it. They don't even look at the application until all the materials are there together.
And it has, now, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You guys are supposed to be a cash basis. Do you send them $130,000 in cash, or do you
No.
have us check it,
No,
cashier's check, or
no,
what?
it has to be cashier's check.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just curious, because I think the state's idiotic in that.
Right? No.
I mean, how
They
in
do
Sam
that.
Hill can you have an industry that can't have a freaking checking account?
And that's the thing, when you look at it from the outside, you don't realize just all the things that we deal with. It's a tough business to deal with, with the regulations and with that aspect of it. It's a stressful business, but those are all the kind of things we deal with day to day. But we're willing to do it because we believe in it, and we.
So we have the date, September 20th,
Mhm.
you have the application and the money. What happens if, and you may or may not know the answer to this question, but what happens, let's say for an example, that we don't have the resolution passed for this on September 20th. You put the application in. Does it have to be a package deal where the resolution has to be passed?
Everything has to be in there, and I tell you, even down to, it has to be in a white binder.
Excuse me?
It has to be in a white binder, mailed to them or hand delivered to them with everything in there. Their
Complete with
application, yes.
with a copy of the resolutions that are passed.
Mhm. We have a zoning form in there that basically talks about making sure we got approval, and then you won't go through zoning. But
So, that's another topic. There are people here that do not know, Williamson County in the unincorporated area does not have zoning. Basically, we cannot tell what business comes into Williamson County with no zoning. And there was a major pushback years ago. I don't know who the commissioners were at the
Pig
time.
farm.
Huh?
The pig farm?
Over the pig farm, and that it came, but we can't sit and say, well, John Doe can come here, but you can't come here, or you can't. There's no zoning, period. So I think people struggle with that because they want to build something. Do you have zoning? We say no. The people, believe it or not, in this county pushed back heavy on that 20 years ago.
Lord, correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
but at the seminar that we went to, I thought they said that they were only gonna allow 500 licenses statewide, is that correct?
Right, well, originally, I mean, right out of the gate, they're only allowing, there'll be 54 licenses is all. That's for the current dispensaries.
For the
Well,
early, is that for the early
That's
approval
for the early approvals.
permits? Yeah.
And if either of you want to correct me on some of this stuff, they may be better to speak to some of this side of it.
So, and then the second,
Does he need to come to the X?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hand it over to
Go
him.
ahead and identify
And then
yourself.
who
I'm
you
gonna
are?
hand it over to him for a minute. 'Cause he
I'm
may be able to
Jeff
speak to
Rollins.
some of that.
I work for, with them, and,
We have two Jeff Robinsons in the building at the same time.
And we got a Ellis.
Yeah. No relation, that I'm aware of anyway.
right, so the same site, and then each one of the 54 or 55 gets an automatic application for a second site adult use store. So, I believe that those applications are due at the beginning of October, and then I think can open at the 1st of March. And so there will be 110. And then I think the next round will start shortly thereafter, and then there's another 80. So it's a slow rollout in the adult use license.
So you said something the other day, the correction was, this is not an application for a second location.
We are not here to get approval for a second site. Like, when I said that, as far as the state law, the terminology in there, it's second site means you're not going to be within the same building.
Okay.
Same site means you're
Okay.
licensed at same site.
Now-
We are wanting same site.
To clarify that, from my understanding, on the second site, the 55 locations are gonna have geographic areas, so that there won't be two dispensaries in the same geographic area. And then off of this, then the second site would have to be in the geographic area. So it could be, your second site could be, and I have no idea, I've not seen this map. But it could be, like, for example, Franklin County or Jackson County, whatever is in that geographic map.
Right, it is tied to the BLS map, which is the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And so I think we have to stay within that one, and I believe we're in Williamson County, and I think it allows us to go into Jackson County with the second site.
Okay.
And so,
I think it listed Carbondale, Marion, and then
Correct.
Williamson, Jackson.
Yeah.
so it would not necessarily be here, it could be within that geographical area, it's tied to the federal Bureau of Labor.
So another county can pick it up and then they take the revenue and everything off of it.
That's what we're worried about as far as, I mean, I think that's where the push comes in and trying to get this approved is, we don't want someone else to come in doesn't know anything about the business.
Doesn't have the
We're trying to
experience
put
of
one
4
in, but
years.
That's what we're worried about, because if you're a freestanding rec store and you don't have that medical background, there's potential problems.
And you will have a computer system, I assume, that's going to
Everything goes-
separate recreational versus medical.
Yes, everything comes through the state traceability system. And so, I mean, our daily income, everything is ran through a state system as well, but those would be separate tracking systems because the laws for medical, the way we check medical people and we track them is different from the law on recreational. So that would definitely be two separate systems. And that's kind of our thinking on having two separate flows into the building is checking process is gonna be a little bit different for each one.
So people from Williamson County, let's say you set up in Jackson, people from Williamson County would go to Jackson County.
Absolutely.
Bring it back to Williamson County.
That's what we're saying. They can go anywhere. There
It's
are no-
everywhere.
For medical patients, they have to choose a dispensary, right? So they can only go, they have to choose a dispensary, that's the only place they can go and purchase. Now, they can switch dispensaries, it takes 24 to 48 hours, but the difference with recreational is they're able to walk in anywhere. So it doesn't matter what county you're from, so, they're gonna go they're gonna be able to go somewhere.
They're
and
gonna
get it.
go
They don't have
somewhere
to stay in
because
one
it's legal statewide.
Right, we'll just lose that revenue is what we're,
So the revenue is the issue.
that's the
Correct.
issue,
I just want to make sure that was clear.
yes.
Well, I appreciate you guys telling us about it because, we haven't talked to y'all except from emails, and, obviously, back to the medical side just quickly, it's helped a lot of people. The recreational is going to be here no matter what. Again, the people that are opposed to it, the fight was in Springfield, Illinois. That's where the fight was. And they should have been up there fighting people against it. And they passed it with, I'm not playing a partyism one way or another, but both parties did come together and they passed it together. So it's here. I don't know what else to say. It's here. It's even here illegally every single day of our life. When I was growing up, I saw people with it, and that was a jillion years ago. Okay. So it's here.
It is here, and my hope is too, if we get a yes vote on this, that people will buy it the legal way from us.
That's the one thing that I've been thinking, and believe me, I'm thinking a lot about this, and the legal way.
That's that's it.
They all won't, but it will keep them out of jail.
But what if we don't have one here and one is further away, what's gonna keep someone from a different county bringing that into here and then selling it to Williamson County residents not legal?
Yeah,
Because they know it's not here.
That probably happens now.
It does.
It does.
At least they have the
Well,
option now to.
I talked to the
Legal
sheriff.
way.
Another county from out of state.
Absolutely.
So it'll come
Yeah.
in and be sold.
I talked to the sheriff last night, and of course look, we're the keeper of the budget. Us three, okay? We have to make a balanced budget, right? Since I've been here 15 years, we've had a balanced budget. We're gonna have one this year. I don't know how we're gonna get there, because we're having a really rough year, but we're gonna get there. I talked to sheriff last night, and he said that in this law, I don't know anything about this law, it's gonna take more of his staff to patrol and do certain things, which is gonna cost the county more money. Where are we gonna get the money? Okay, so there's a lot of moving factors here. And I'm just gonna speak to my heart. I'm sure some people here are totally opposed to this whole thing, and that's fine. We're not here to please everybody.
We'll try.
We're not real successful, but we're not here to please everybody. But in any vote we make here, and believe me, I have made some tough ones over the past 15 years, and I stayed awake a lot. You have to keep in mind several things. There's a lot of what I call bad money out there, okay? You have the gaming machines. You have the lottery. No matter how you cut it, it's gambling. You have 50-50, even in churches, it's gambling. You have alcohol on every corner you go to, and everything is being revenued and taxed on. Okay? So I don't know if any of you know, but this board gives $25,000 to CASA for abused children off the gaming revenue. If we get together, and if this is some route we go to pass this, I would recommend the same type of thing to give money to maybe some different for abused children, charitable organization, and you could take this bad money, as people call it, and turn it into a positive of a good thing. But it's here. The fight's over. I mean, I hear this morally stuff and all this kind of stuff. Look, I sat in church Sunday, and I sat there and thought about this thing for a long time. And we are the stewards of the budget of the county. But we also have moral issues too. But when you see these other things out there going on, and I was driving home the other night with my kid's car, and I saw a guy swerving all over the road, and I called him in. He was blown out somehow. I don't know what. Every day, and there's car wrecks from drunk driving every single day. So yeah, it's taxable on this, it's taxable on that, it's taxable all the way across the board. This is an opportunity at 3.75% of possibly $20 million in sales. The question I have in my heart and my mind is, do we want to capitalize on this, or do we want to give it to another county? And we're going to sit here and scratch ourselves trying to figure out how we're going to get a balanced budget. I'm not saying we have to use it. This is not a life or death for us, but it sure helps things. And everything else out there is taxable. All the bad stuff, the cigarettes and everything else. I know nothing about any of that stuff. I'm not a hypocrite. If I want to have a beer with somebody, I have a beer. But I'm like a 1 or 2 person drinker. If I want to go gamble, pay $20 somewhere. I went to Vegas 2 weeks ago. Didn't gamble a bit. Saw 2 shows and came home. But if I wanted to, I'm 21 years old. I have that right to do it. It's a choice. Everything's a choice. So my heart is all about this, and it's eating me alive thinking about it all. But look at the bad money, and I'll be one of the guys that if we go this route to give 20, 30,000, whatever we decide to do to charitable organizations to help abused children that are less fortunate. I'm going to turn this so-called people of bad money into a positive spin like we did for CASA. And that's just my 2 cents on it. But I'm like, they have questions for you. I'm going to stay back here by the flags. So, I'm an American.
Yeah,
I really am.
hide behind me.
I will say this, Brandon, I agree, I think, but this is, I think this is an opportunity to, if we go this route, that's a good direction, and it's something that we will look at. But at the time, right now, I think we need time to discuss.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think we're going to make a vote today. Maybe.
But I think what we need to do now is there anything else that you would like to tell us, or present, or anything, or I would say, does anybody have any questions from them, the audience that,
I have a question.
yes, John?
John,
why don't you come up
Hey,
here?
John, guess what?
I call them Golden Cross. Golden X.
And I was wanting to give everybody an opportunity to say something.
So my question would be, as far as places that have already legalized it, what kind of ramifications have come from that as far as the increase of, the offshoot of the negatives of the marijuana?
Well, as of right now, it's not legal, but it will be.
No, I'm talking about places where it's not in
Okay.
Colorado.
In the 13.
The other states?
Yeah, I mean.
Has anybody heard? I've not heard anything bad.
I read some figures, and of course, there's figures flying everywhere, so I don't know what's true and what's false, but according to what I read, for every dollar that the state of Colorado got in for taxes, they spent $4.50 for remediation of the problem. So I agree with you, it's everywhere.
I'm not sure I follow
My
that.
heart is, someone's still got to set a flag and say, I mean, we're talking about this is here, this is here, this is here. I guess before we know it, prostitution will be here, So I guess it comes down to an inner, who you are on the inside. And not trying to be judgmental. I'm like you, I've never smoked pot. I don't know anything about it. And I think there are some good things in the medical part of it. But just from what I've heard, and the term gateway drug seems to be thrown around a lot. So it opens the doors. I feel scared up here talking. I'm not pretty talker.
You're not even on the X.
But I know a couple of you guys very well, and I know you can't legislate morality.
Yeah.
It's impossible. But I would love to think there's a place where someone would say, no, we don't want it here. Because if you go to Jackson County, get it. You guys have balanced the budget for all these years. You've done a wonderful job. It's a hard job. I'm trying to keep faith out of my conversation here, but I just think we do the right thing. You'll see the blessings from it. So, anyhow,
Respect that. Thank you.
any questions? Okay.
He says I'm done with that X.
Thanks, John.
Anybody else?
Well, my name is Kim Kennedy. I'm a patient. I'm a breast cancer survivor. I love the idea of the recreational being at the Heartbreak. Now, let me give you my reasoning for why. We have crack cocaine. We have methamphetamine. That's the drug of choice for our kids. Don't get it fooled. It's not marijuana. This, however, will give them a legal alternative to what they think is fun and what I know is a medical benefit. We would be allowing them to have a recreational high with a medical benefit. Now, the people that aren't going to contribute to this will be the people at the radiology center. SIH is not going to contribute on this.
That's it, Jay.
There's going to be some doctors that aren't going to contribute. But as a grandparent, I would much rather my grandson go to a legal store than ride up on a street corner with someone with a gun in the rack to buy a nickel of grass. That's my opinion. Now, I'll bring faith into it. God's word says that every seed or every plant that bears seed is good. I don't know if you guys know this, but that marijuana plant bears seeds. I think it's a good thing. I think we've been fooled on a lot of things in our life, all of our life. And I think that we, our age, is the generation that will make this correct and straight. And we will see addictions from opiates, methamphetamines, crack cocaine, alcohol,
Meth.
cigarettes go down. And the only people that are going to be mad about that are going to be the people that have took our money for years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now the vaping is the big thing now, so that's, everybody on the vaping.
That's also used with vitamin E oil. And if you'll look, that is on those cartridges that you're seeing at Hux, in
Really?
those
Is
places.
that right?
That's why we want this as a legal place for someone to go in and know that they're getting quality tested product that is not causing this, And I think it's awfully funny as well, since you did bring that up, that is such a big topic. 4 people have passed. I'm very sorry for those 4 people and their families. How many people have passed from cigarette smoke? Of the 3,000
Lord.
additives that we put into it,
Goodness.
legalized by the United States government.
Yeah, I'll just tell you, there's a lot of stuff the United States government and the state passes that I totally oppose, but you know what? There's not much I can do about it when they
Yeah.
pass it, so.
The other thing, I just want to say one thing about the vapes as well. You know, as soon as we started hearing, as soon as the first person had died from it, we immediately got a press release from IDPH, and we have it in our store for patients to see. We're watching out for those symptoms for patients, so that is something we're concerned about as well too. We want to make sure it's not in our products. It's not something that our products. There's not been any evidence of that yet. It's been like she said, that you buy at gas stations and things like that. But we take those things seriously too, and we don't want people buying stuff from us that is going to do undue harm. And so I just wanted you to know that that is
Okay.
something that we're aware of, and we take very seriously. We train our staff on things to look out for, conversations to have with patients. If they hear they're having respiratory symptoms after they vape and things like that, we take that very serious. And, we don't want that to happen either. So I just wanted to say that since we talked about the vaping.
One question I have for you
Yes.
now, on, if someone would come into your store to purchase medical marijuana, or not medical, recreational, correct me if you maybe you might have said this already, do they have to register, or do they have to have a special card or
They don't have
license?
to have a special card, and what we have to have an ID scan system to make an official, a driver's license, that we will scan into a state system to ensure they're 21. And it will check and make sure it's valid ID, and we have that, we will track them. We cannot keep their information though. We cannot.
But state would keep.
State would keep that. What we do at our level is we ensure that they're not getting more than they're supposed to have. So we, as far as when we go through that system, and that system also for the rec side, they won't be able to purchase more. Like for instance, with medical right now, if they go over their 2.5 ounce limit, they can have 2.5 ounces every 14 days. If they're at that 2.5, our state traceability system will not even allow us to scan another product in. We can't go over that.
So what is their limit?
For recreational,
Yeah.
it's 10 grams, or 10 grams, 30 grams.
30
30
grams,
grams.
but I mean, how often could you go in every day and purchase 30 grams?
That is not something that we've gotten.
All gonna change again.
The law just says
It's like in their
30
possession.
grams, that we can only sell them 30 grams. And they've not clarified that. That is something.
They could come back, but that's per month, or who knows what they're gonna
Right.
do.
Right now with medical, it's every 14 days. So they're looking, that's kind of the guideline there, but we have not gotten that.
There's a lot of things that have to be clarified. That's why in the veto session, we don't know what,
Sure.
but we know in the veto session in October and November that there's going to be some kind of changes to this.
Right.
They still haven't addressed how people are going to be, that are in prison with drug-related offenses, how that's going to be handled. Are they going to be pardoned? Are they going to be
Sure.
sent out? What? The purchasing, I talked with someone this morning, they're not sure about how, what you just said with the purchasing, how much they'll be able to purchase over a period of time. And that was a question I had. So if it's medical, it's 2.5 ounces?
2.5 ounces every 14 days.
How much, and I don't have any idea on this, what's ounces and grams? I know there's a difference, but I don't.
I'm with you. I don't know either.
Right, basically, there's 28 grams in an ounce. So you're talking,
Are we talking about this big? What are we
an
talking about?
ounce is,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That big.
Well, Greg, he was saying 30.
We all know what the word joint means, so how much is in a joint?
30 grams is about, it's just a shy over an ounce.
1 gram in a joint.
That's a volume,
Not
and it
weight.
depends on, because you have,
But if you have 2.5 ounces, so that's more than 30 grams.
that's for medical, right?
So it's 70.87 grams.
That's
Okay.
what medical can get, yeah.
Can I, you guys wanna see the pictures?
Sure.
Yeah, see, none of us really smoking. We don't really.
I don't either.
So what is it? Oh, what, that's
So-
1 ounce?
1 ounce, she said 1 ounce is a, 1 gram is a joint. I do know what the terminology of joint is.
So, okay. So still, that doesn't, and this is in a hard form that I've ever seen in the bag, was all ground up.
Right.
Yeah, these are, they call them buds.
Yeah, and you're talking too, you're gonna have people that come in.
That was cornflakes, what you saw.
No, it was green.
Right,
How much of that you got?
Exactly.
but there's edibles, there's tinctures, there's other things people can get, so really when you equate how much that actually is, it really depends on the product. I mean, I think flour is what's more recognizable to most people, but when you're talking about a patch, it's a 20 milligram patch. So,
Really?
yeah, so it's much
And
less.
that, but the patch will last for a few days.
It really depends on the tolerance. I mean, a patch can last, we typically tell people out of the gate, head it into quarters or sixths, and start with that. Because we want to make sure we don't want people to get too much. So we have them start with that and then give them guidelines as far as, and then wait this amount of time. If you're not getting any pain relief, then add another quarter to that. And so it really depends on the person. That's what's different about this medicine than your typical prescriptions that you get, is it's really based on the person for everything and the tolerance level, and what works for one person may not work for another person. And that's what we do all day long, is we try to find that perfect thing for our patients that's going to give them that relief and help them function, help them be out in society. And you'd be surprised, some of the people, it's probably people that you talk to every day that are medical patients.
So you had said something earlier, Jeff, that for the time frame, September 20th is a hard deadline for submitting your application in a white notebook or something.
White binder, yes.
And with a cashier's check for 130,000 with this package. Then you send that in, that has to be, I guess it'll be checked in and charted by October 1st. I don't know why it would take 10 days to get.
No, they have 45 days to review it. This is the
Well,
problem.
but October 1st was their deadline for receiving it. So if you have to send it in by the 20th,
Right.
why does it take 10 days to get processed up to the state? I don't understand that.
It's the
Then,
state.
they're gonna have 30 or
They
45,
have up to 45 days.
45
to
days. So we're
actually
talking
give
the
us an
middle of
answer.
November
And then
before they're going to issue their 55 licenses. Then, but the law doesn't take effect until January 1st. But you said nobody would start selling until March?
That's for the second site.
Oh, the second.
Yes,
So
sir.
come January 1st, so November 15th is the date that the licensing
they have
will
until
be
then.
awarded. Then you've got 45 days to get your act together
Construction.
before, whoever the 55 are. They
Right.
have 55
Yes.
days to get their act together before it starts selling on January 1st.
Right. The good thing for us is, like I said, with this same site, we have minimal changes to make. It's a door here to add. It's a couple extra stations so we can segregate medical and recreational on separate sides of the dispensary. So we have minimal changes, so we can get it done in that time, but we've got to get it passed, so we've got time to do that. But that's our advantage, is we get this voted on soon and get that to them, we can be operational January 1st and start getting the tax revenue in. And that's really, that's where our push is.
And where would the second site be located?
As of right now, I mean,
We have not decided.
we have not decided.
Location.
It really.
But somewhere in
depends
your.
I had a
you call it
county close to
BLS?
us.
on- Huh?
Somewhere in, you call it BLS?
Yeah, the
BLS.
Bureau of Labor and Statistics.
Okay.
Yeah, through the U.S. Census Bureau. Yeah,
Right.
they make a map. And,
I had a chairman of the county call yesterday that's more than willing to take it on. So
Yeah.
I can, I'll give you information, you can call him.
Well, and really, I mean, our priority right now is getting this done in Wilson County. I mean, that's what.
Well, you're already here.
We're here, and that's our priority. That's really what we're thinking about right now. We want to get that done, and then, then we'll start thinking about second side if we need to, but that's really.
Don't put the cart before the horse.
Absolutely, that's our
Okay.
main goal, so. Anything else?
Anybody?
If anybody else? Okay, on this, we actually, this afternoon, we're going to ask our sheriff to come over and talk with us. He couldn't come this morning. So, we're going to, on this, we're going to table these two things until this afternoon. And then we'll come back and talk we'll have Vinny here. So, if anybody wants to come in, I guess you're more than welcome to. It's still an open meeting. That way we can discuss it. Because what we're trying to do, literally, there's some things here that I found out this morning that I had no idea for what timeframes and what's going on actually. On a sidebar, I'll say this real quick. I actually spoke to my daughter. She's 26. She has a better handle on some of this stuff than I do. And regarding with the vape, I learned this today. I did not know this. That I'd heard that this vitamin E in the liquid form, when you smoke it and make it hot, that it can affect different people in different ways. And when you start ingesting that in the form of in your lungs, they believe that that's been one of the contributing factors in people dying because it affects people differently. And it's some pretty bad stuff. And I find it interesting that our government agencies are worried about our health, wink, 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 but yet they'll let stuff like this out there and they turn their head and cough when it comes to this. And most of the people doing the vape that I personally know that do it, I don't know anyone over the age of 30 that's doing vaping. It's all teens and 20s that I see doing that. And so I think that's a serious issue down the pike. That's not what we're here for, but it was discussed and I just thought I'd throw 2 cents worth in. That probably doesn't matter to anybody. If anybody doesn't have anything else, does anybody else, we have a large crowd here, does anybody else have anything else other than with the cannabis that they'd like to discuss or anything? Okay, go ahead.
You know-
Golden eggs.
You know where to go.
Be careful.
I don't really have much to say. My name is Brian Brooks. I'm a medical cannabis patient right now. I know we've kind of talked about this, isn't really about medical, but something to consider. A lot of people, when they get a recreational program in their state, people who are scared to start a medical program are more willing to give cannabis a try for the medical ailments, because a lot of people don't want to be on a registry. A lot of people don't want to go to their doctor, and say like, hey, I have this condition, or a lot of people worry about losing their FOID card even though it doesn't happen. It does cause some problems with buying firearms at a federal licensed firearm dealer. This would allow some people to avoid that problem and still have medical cannabis in a way without having to be officially a medical cannabis patient and make themselves feel uncomfortable or be on some kind of registry or list. It just opens the door for more people to try.
Explain the FOID card again now. What's the FOID card about?
It's we're one of the few states in the country to have it. It's a federal owner's identification, firearms owner identification ID.
No, but what's it got to do with this, all this?
A lot of people have under the misconception you lose your FOID card when you become a medical cannabis patient.
I see.
And it's not true. Actually, ISP on the FAQs addresses that. But it does cause problems when we buy a firearm from a FFL dealer because they follow federal guidelines. And on the ATF form, they ask you if you use cannabis medically or, regardless, it's
I
not
see.
allowed.
And on that point, because I've checked on this, they now added another little sentence under that question that says, warning, is big and bold. It says, although some states have legalized the recreational use of marijuana, it's still illegal in the eyes of the federal government. And so if you check the spots, you won't be able to purchase a firearm.
Yeah.
So,
And like I said, if anything, it might be making people more open to trying, cannabis in lieu of like alcohol or opiates, without having to, because a lot of doctors too, when you get on a medical cannabis program, they cut you off of your opiates. And what science shows is that THC potentiates your opiates, how effective they are in your body. So if a patient's taking like 8 opiate pills and they can take 4 because now they're using cannabis in conjunction, that's gonna ostensibly expand their life. You know what I mean? Like it may not be completely stopping, but it's cutting down, and that's worth looking into as a public health consideration. Is all. So, that's all I gotta say. So,
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I have some.
Come on down.
I guess one of your things I stuck in my head earlier was about you were saying that Williamson County was going to spend more money on police force. But if we're not in Williamson County selling your rec, you're still going to have your police force, even if it's from Jackson County. If it's sold in Jackson County, your police force is still going to have to be
Of course.
upped. Another thing, I kind of like with Brian, I started a medical program in February. In January, I was on 6 different medications. I was on tramadol, hydrocodone, Xanax. I tried to commit suicide. I am 8 months into the program. I do my CBD oil, and I am on 10 milligrams of Adderall. I'm on off everything else.
Really?
I can live my life. I'm a single mom. I can raise my kids, and I don't need all the other stuff that was driving me down. So I was scared to come in the program because I didn't want to be stereotyped as a pothead. I didn't want to be stereotyped as a single mom going, I'm going to lose kids. This is an avenue for people who don't want to be on the books, as Brian said, to save their life. And it has saved my life. And that's another reason. People don't want to walk in and go, somebody's going to see me, so I might have to go in. I have to approach these people, and they can walk in with their license, buy at a facility that can educate them, instead of some random people going, yeah, you know what, I'm in this business, I want to make money. And we're in it. The Harbury, yes, of course they're going to make money, but they're in to educate people as well. And different symptoms arise. You can sit down with your specialist and they will go, you go, hey, I've got something else going on. What can I maybe do to help better my life? And they're going to help you because they're educated enough to help you make that decision, instead of going to the doctor and go, hey, let me give you 120 Codeine, let me give you 120 Soma, let me give you 90 Adderall, let me give you a bunch of Xanax.
You're right.
Which they're all counteracting, which caused me more medical issues. I ended up with a surgery because of all my intestines and stuff couldn't take it. I ended up with surgery in January. I tried to kill myself in January, and here I am 8 months later on just 10 milligrams of Adderall a day for my ADD.
Probably be good. Yeah.
So it's not just about money, it's not just about revenue, it's about saving lives. And people not having to put all their whole self out there in front of everybody else. You're gonna have, no matter where it is, you're gonna have people come in who are just there to get high. There's a lot of people in this community that are there to save their life, just like I was.
Very good. Thank you.
One point that you did bring out, which is very true, any problems associated with recreational use is going to be here, regardless whether
It's been here for years.
sell it
Yes.
or not. It's going to be here.
Right, and the biggest thing with the Harbury too is that if you have a product and it makes you fidgety, or you go do something and you go back in, or you make a phone call and say, hey, I don't feel right on this, what, am I doing something wrong? They're gonna sit there on the phone and educate you. They're gonna give you, okay, you need to calm down, drink some water, they're gonna educate you. You're a phone call, they're a phone call away. You can call, talk to them, and they're gonna give you a solution or help you out as much as you can.
Right.
If it's not working, people call, you can just say, hey, this is not working, am I taking the right dose, what should I do? They're there to educate. You send it into a different county that's not educated on this, you're gonna get just a bunch of people that are just willy-nilly doing it, don't know what they're doing, they're gonna have bad reactions because they're not educated, they're gonna go smoke a whole 1 gram of something that's 40% THC. I'd be in panic attacks all day. You know, because I have anxiety, but I can tell the heart rate, hey, I have anxiety, and they're gonna go, stay away from that, that's not gonna do something for you. You go and put it in somebody else's hands. You never know, are they educated enough to make that, or are they there just for the dollar? That would, goes both ways with revenue and education.
That 4 years of experience, that's where that really comes in too, because we've got 4 years of scenarios of people trying stuff that didn't work. So we know right now, if they come in, no, you don't want to try that. This is not something, people think, you would think if you have an edible brownie, right, you could just eat the whole thing. Everybody thinks edibles are safe. They think it's a good place to start, just eat a bunch of edibles. They're not. The way they process in your body, as long as they take to get in your body, you think you want to eat more because if you haven't felt that effect yet. And then there you are, it stays in your system longer. So there you are 8 hours later and you're still like, and that's the knowledge we have is to tell, 21-year-old wants to come try it. Look, this is where you want to start.
Somewhere else.
This is where you want to start somewhere else, whether they're doing it recreationally or getting the medical benefits. Don't start with this. We can help you decide now. Later on, maybe something, but that's where that 4 years experience comes in. We've seen those things happen. We know how to deal with them. We know how to make people make good choices.
Absolutely.
So
I have
I
my
think that's
CBD
what's
patch on.
important here.
I wear
is-
my CBD patch every day.
Yeah.
It doesn't give me high, it has no effect. I have pain relief, I have anxiety, I went 8 months without a panic attack. Just from the swear. And I'm alive, and I can still raise my kids.
Thank you.
I think the gentleman in the back had his hand up. Did you want to say something, sir?
Uh,
You have to stand up here on the X.
Here we go.
Nobody gets out of it.
I know you guys have a hard job. I've met, first time I've ever been here, and I came up there to see how you guys operate. And I know you have a hard job. 2 things I want to make. It wasn't a bipartisan that elected this. We all know that the Democrats control the House, and they voted down the line. But by the same token, I had a friend, a very close friend, died years ago from back problems. And he was so bad that they operated on I don't know how many times to get rid of his pain. And he always said, if you could get me some marijuana, I know I can feel no pain for a while. And I said, buddy, I don't know this stuff. I don't know. And he's been dead 15 years. And that just bothered me all along. When I came here today, I was wanting to know how you guys was gonna vote on this. And I'll be honest with you, I go to church, I believe in the Bible, and I know he is punishing us for what we do wrong down the road. But I can honestly say, coming here today, I changed my mind on the lady here made an excellent point on what advantage they have. And if you as the county representatives are looking how to balance the budget, the money's there. The money's there. But is it going to be enough to pay the increase in your government operation of your sheriff and your county clerk and all that? It might be and it may not be. But our taxes are high in Southern Illinois. Instead, regardless of all that, you guys have a hard decision to make. And I know, from watching today, that you'll probably make the right one. Not sure, but you probably will. Appreciate it. That's all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And I did want to come back for the meeting this afternoon, but I got to pick up grandkids.
That's the one thing, I enjoy having the grandkids, I can play with them, spoil them, fill them full of sugar and then send them home. All right, anybody else have anything?
The
If
one,
not-
the one thing, I appreciate everybody coming out. I think government sometimes is lacking people paying attention to what government, all they want to do is criticize. And they want to criticize us, they want to criticize everybody. But this job is not an easy task, making decisions, you're not gonna please everybody. On this particular case, the state has made it a law. Wayne County Commissioner didn't make it this law. So it's here. The one question I do have, Lori, is on the law. Now, of course, they've been smoking marijuana for a jillion years, illegally. I do think, I agree with one of you that said that opioids and meth and everything is a lot more crucial now than you hear anything about marijuana. You go to the jail cell up here, I bet you don't hardly find one or two people have to do with marijuana. The rest is all this other crap, okay? So the law just means people just go buy it illegal?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, can they buy it, these grams or whatever it is, just, they have to go through?
No, they have to go through a license.
Otherwise, it's illegal.
Otherwise, it's
Yes,
still
that's at point
illegal.
two. We want our citizens to buy it through a licensed facility, because if they buy it on the street, they're not legal.
Otherwise, it's still illegal.
They are not legal buying.
I just want to make sure I understand.
They're
it
only
right.
allowed to possess the legal amount under the Public Act. So if somebody's caught possessing more, that's still illegal. There's still a lot of illegal things with.
That's the way I took it. I'll make sure I was right on that.
Which, and to your question on how many grams, like how often can they get the 30 grams? What Wendy said is they can't possess more than 30 grams. So whether the law states or not, they can get 30 grams a day. That's illegal to have more than 30 grams on you in your possession.
Okay.
Yeah, they may be able to have more in their private residence, but as far as at one time, like if they're pulled over and a search of their vehicle is done or something like that, I think they even have to transport it certain ways. They're only allowed to possess certain amounts. There is still a lot.
It's broken down into not just
Right.
flour, it's broken down into so many grams of edibles, you can only possess so many grams of flour, so you cannot possess 30 grams of flour. It's broken down into each individual section.
Okay, so let's just say, for example, and I know this has nothing to do with you or anything, it's the way the state has set the game up. And somebody's walking down the street and they have 30 or 100 grams, and the police officer stops and whatever. How do they know where that came from?
Well, it really depends. I mean, the law really states that when you take it out of our facility, it has to be out of arm's length. You put it in your trunk.
I mean, do they like get a receipt or
They
something?
do get a
from
receipt.
you?
We get a,
That
they'll
would,
get a
like,
receipt.
I mean, but anybody would walk down and
Yes,
they've got the
but
stuff.
also our
That's kinda wild.
bottles, the law for the cultivators is when they send, we buy product from, 9 different cultivators right now. When we get product from a specific one, it is specific to Harbury, not just the barcode, because barcodes are hard, barcode is a barcode, right? You see that doesn't mean anything. But the label also has Harbury on it, so they put that on there, we don't put that on there. So if the bottle or the product is intact with what came in, it's gonna say right there, we've had the Williams County Sheriff's Office call us before and say they found Harbury product on the streets. And, we help them if we can. It's very hard, sometimes it's hard to track down, because if we sell 128 bottles of something, there's 128 people that could have had that product. But we've had a couple different instances where they've called us and trying to track that down, and we do our best to help track that down, based on the history that we've got and what we can give them. So to answer your question, every single label on it comes to us with Harbury on there.
And don't take it wrong, but I know even if you were located in Jackson County,
Right.
per se, let's in that same scenario,
Sure.
it's not because of that, it's because of the state has legalized it in January 1. That's some of the problems that the state is going to create.
Right.
And there's no getting out of that. And that's what we're trying to.
There's no, and we want to have,
So,
we've always had a good relationship, I feel like, with the Williamson County Sheriff's Department. I mean, if they have had to come out, and we had a birthday at the camera one night, one of the outside cameras, and I'm out there at 3 a.m, and they were there, really quickly. And so we've got a good relationship with them, and we want to keep that. I mean, we were talking to one the other day, he was out there for something, and there was a wreck in our parking lot, so he was out there to take the insurance information for a couple of patients. And, we spoke to him a little bit, and I mean, of course, he had some questions. That's a tough thing to decide how all that's gonna be handled. And that's probably to me, that's one of the hardest areas right now, is how is that gonna be handled, and how do we make sure that doesn't happen? What I can say that we'll commit to is keeping that relationship open and helping any way we can within the constraints of the law. I mean, obviously, you know, with HIPAA rules and stuff with patients, we have to be careful, you know, with that, it's a great area there, but we want to continue that positive relationship, and we're here to help too. We don't want it out there either.
I really was not in favor.
I hate that, when we hear or we see pictures or someone says, well, I saw some Carberry, whatever, that makes me sick, because it's here and you can get it. I just don't, you know, that we,
Well, that could have happened too, even if you're located in Jackson County.
it could happen anywhere. I'm just saying with the program, you know, we don't like that.
Right, no, I understand that.
As we get ready to wrap up, I want to be clear that I was not in favor of this law. Okay, even though it's your business, I'm not, just like I wasn't in favor of the big tax increase on the gas and a million other things they've done. And we don't bring politics in. I think both sides have serious problems, but just to correct the gentleman in the back, the headline says bipartisan vote, 66-47 in the House, bipartisan vote in the Senate, 38-17. So it was in fact a bipartisan. Just that's why you just pick it up and read it. So, but I was not for it. So, but it is what it is. Okay. So,
Lori, question I thought of here while we were talking here, just a little bit here. What happens, I guess, right now, if you're able to sell recreational marijuana, you're going to know what the product is. Right now, on the street, you don't necessarily know what you're getting. It can be cut down. But when you're buying it from a licensed facility going forward, you literally know what the product is that you're going to be receiving, and you're going to know where its origination was from, correct?
It comes directly, I mean, the cultivation centers are policed by the Department of Ag, and we're in charge on that side, and IDMPR is in charge on our side. I mean, we buy from the cultivator, and when delivery time comes, and then we have a secure cage that it comes in, we have to follow them in. The state can watch us anytime they want. We count every single product, make sure it's sealed, make sure we can't see it. And it's different. If you see pictures from Colorado and different places, you see these jars of flour sitting all over the dispensary and people can pick and choose. Illinois is not like that. Some of us that are not medical patients, we didn't see it for a long time until we had to destroy something and we actually, you know, saw the product. You can't see it. So when it comes in, you know, we count every single bottle. We know exactly where it came from. We can have test results to any product we get. They're available online. So every cultivator has test results to all their products. It's a lot of test results, so we typically don't just keep test results out because it's a lot of information and there's a lot of numbers on that people don't understand. But with that said, if there is someone who is interested in every single one of those numbers and wants to know down to everything that's in there, we've got those test results. And we can show them those, we can talk to those. And so yes, we know without, 100% certainty what's in those bottles. And that's how regulated it is. And when someone buys it and takes it, I don't know what they're putting in it, what they're adding to it. I'm sure they're breaking it down because if I wanted to make money out there, I would put other things in it. Who knows what that is? But yes, to answer your question,
Well,
absolutely.
I know, I've talked with the Southern Illinois Drug Enforcement Group before, and I know it is a problem here in Southern Illinois. The traffic line that we have going from south to north is huge. And the problems they have, that talking with Tom McNamara before about stuff like this, that when you have stuff coming in from Colombia or Mexico or somewhere down South America, that you don't know the quality that you're getting, and it can have, his words, bad stuff in it. So that's why I was just curious. This is going to be 100% controlled. We're going to know, you're going to know where it's coming from. Jim asked the question earlier, how are you going to know? That's a good question. How are you going to know? So just for an example, I had a bag full of stuff. You're not going to know if it came from Columbia or the Harboring. That.
But that's a problem that the state has set up.
Right.
Right.
But in this particular instance, if you guys had the license and if you were dispensing it, we know that the people who are going to be buying that are going to be buying, for lack of a better word, quality
Safer than what you're on the street.
quality stuff instead of.
That's why I want to make sure I was correct, that outside of this, it's still illegal.
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to
That's
clarify
the
that.
only way it's legal.
I think some people think that is, it's free for all.
Well, because other than that, they wouldn't be able to check if you're 21. I mean, we have to have a special scan system to show that you're 21, and if you're buying from the street, obviously,
That's right.
I would think they're not that high. I don't know, I've not been out there, I checked with that earlier. And, you know what I mean? But yeah, they have to come through us, in order to be legal and to possess that, so.
Okay. Yes, John?
Here's a question. If this happens and you go to your establishment and you buy it, what would you pay for it versus if you just go out on the street and buy it?
That's a good question.
Good question.
Because the question we're humans, humanity, you've got kids. If they gotta go pay it, I don't know, I'm just letting them know, I don't know what, if they gotta pay $100, or they can go down to McDonald's and get a couple of reefers for $5. When I was 16, I was going to McDonald's.
Right.
You know, so I don't know, I mean, we're sitting here and we're trying to legislate this, but we're humans.
Right.
And we got kids, I was concerned about I got
Me
9
too.
grandkids.
Yep.
In my own family, I got three kids, and you know, this is my story. We try everything to keep them drinking, they all drink, and it's illegal in the church, it's kind of accepted. We bring this on and now it's accepted. And that's what we're doing, we're accepting it. Now, and I'm not talking about the medical, I mean, we got testimony here how this has helped people. But when you say recreational, I don't know, I mean, and I'm not a novice, I'm not, but just as, voicing that and wondering how you would say, well, you go pay $100, or they, my buddy's got it here in the trunk for $10.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, John, I respect your opinion.
Yeah, that's-
a very good point.
That's good.
The downside to that is if they're not here, that problem is still going to exist.
Right.
It's not going away because the state legalized it. That's what I'm saying. That's why
I mean,
the state's
bottom line
creating
is
all
money
kinds
for
of
the
problems due to this.
Yeah, it's here. Do you accept the money or do you not? That's what,
You got a
but
good point.
that is an excellent point about what you pay, here versus,
Can't answer that, honestly.
because on the street, who knows what the price is?
I've heard
Well,
different
let me
rates.
tell you, just from having good ears, okay?
Uh-huh.
It's about the same amount as on the street. It's about the same amount. It costs about the same amount for Joe Schmeckinelli to grow the weed than it does for Cresco to grow it. Only they're doing it in a safe environment that has no mold in it. So you're not gonna have a
Right.
mold issue.
Well, John's question is, I mean, that's what I was thinking the other day, exact things going through my
It's
head.
the same. So whether you get tax revenue on it.
Thank you for coming.
Or
Thank you.
whether, Joe Schmeckinelli gets all the money, that's basically what you're.
Okay, yeah.
I would say that the drugs are coming up from Mexico, wherever, they're not being grown by, employees are being paid and.
They're not gonna be safe is what this is.
And, I mean, so there's gotta be a cost for this, that
Sure.
the local down in Acuna, Mexico is growing and bringing over.
Yep. No, that's a great question.
Okay. If nobody has anything else, I want to make a recommendation that we recess and reconvene 12:15, about 1:30. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
So
that a motion?
I'll make a motion that we recess until 1:30.
Jim Barlow, Gentry.
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Thank you all for coming in.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.